Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's a pretty nice day here. We've had some cloud cover part of the day. Almost looked like it was going to rain for a while, but it's kept the temperatures down decent. It's not been too bad of a day. Still above normal in our temperatures. But they say that sometime like next week, we're going to start going more to the normal trend when it comes to temperatures. It's just been a little warmer than normal. Not bad. I personally, in fact, up until just a few moments ago before I started recording this, I really didn't know much of what was going on today. Probably a good thing sometimes. Just take a break from it. My dad has come to visit today, which I don't get to see him that often. He lives about 8-9 hours away, so we, whether it's us going there or him coming here, we don't see each other too often, and so it's a nice visit. I don't know that I talk about my dad that much, so there's nothing wrong there. For anyone that's questioning, yeah, he's 75, turned 75 this year. And it was funny, earlier we were sitting there and he was playing guitar and kind of singing, and I couldn't believe that, Dad's 75, and man, he looks so good. He's in really good health. He finally officially retired this year, even though he still works pretty much full time. He officially retired from the job he had because he's 75 and just decided to do it. But then now he's working he drives a shuttle van for people. And he told me, he said he really loves that job because he gets to minister. He said God has opened the door so many times when he's shuttling people around. He does it for a car company. So you drop your car off to get it worked on, and he'll take you to work and bring you back, that kind of thing. And he said, you wouldn't believe the times I've been able to pray with people and witness to them. He said it's almost like it's become a ministry to me. So it's been a good visit. He'll stay for a little while longer. So I don't know. Every once in a while, I give you a little sneak peek piece of my personal life, but I don't like to do it too much because I'm kind of a private person, and this is the internet, and there's crazy people on here. So the big thing that I think I'm focusing on recently is the economy, and the reason the economy is because there's just been a lot of stuff coming out in the last few days, a lot of monthly numbers, a lot of quarterly numbers, and everything is looking bad. And it cracks me up because I think it was either this morning or yesterday, the president posted on his social media about how strongest economy ever. There was one of the White House people, and I saw a little tiny clip of them and on Fox News this morning, I believe. I don't remember who it was. Oh, the economy's booming. It's such a strong economy. They're either very, very delusional or very, very much liars, because it is getting to the point right now that there is almost no parameter that indicates the economy is doing good. The only thing that is doing good right now is the stock market, and it's just a big bubble. It's a big bubble that's going to burst. The people that really have the money, because most of the stock market is by people with big money. It's not little folks like you and I that go in there and do some stock trading. It's the big money, and they know things are crashing down, and they're trying to swallow up everything they can and make as much money as they can, and then they'll back out right at the right moment and walk away with a big handful of cash. But things are falling apart. I mean, delinquencies on just about every type of loan out there are some of the highest ever. Some certain kind of unusual parameters. For instance, like the amount of adult children living with their parents is the highest it's ever been since the Great Depression. So even in the last few years, the last decade or so, there was still not as much percentage-wise of adult children living with their parents as there were back during the Depression, and we've now crossed that threshold. Find that one an interesting one. There's several. I probably couldn't sit here and remember all of them, but there's several parameters that's showing, kind of the gold and the stock market ratio. It's the highest it's ever been since the Depression, the Great Depression. Over and over and over again, The parameters look bad. They estimate about 2,600 businesses will be laid off, will be shut down this year. 2,600 big companies, not little mom and pop. We're talking about big chain companies will be closing the doors of 2,600 businesses or more. That's pretty significant, folks. We're getting to the point that some of these numbers are actually worse than during the COVID shutdowns, because those numbers were horrible. The only reason why it's not considered anything worse than it already is because it bounced back so quickly. It was a very temporary, small, crash and then back up. But like layoffs, high as they've ever been. Everything is looking really bad. And the cost of stuff just keeps going up, 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 up. Some groceries right now are the highest they've ever been in recorded history. There's a few things that's still not quite as high as during COVID, but they're getting there, folks. They are getting there. And we're being told this lie over and over again about how great things are, how amazing things are. It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. Anyone that works for a living, that struggles from paycheck to paycheck, at least at times, that goes and buys their own groceries, they know that we are not in a super strong economy right now. I mean, about a third or more of the states are already in what's classified as a recession for them. Maybe not nationwide, but for them. We need to wake up to this because it is getting serious. And that is something. Maybe World War III with Russia and China and Iran isn't going to directly affect you. I think it will, but maybe it won't. Maybe, Israel and Hamas, this deal that they're working out is just little by little crumbling apart. I don't think it'll be too much longer before one of them says, all right, let's go back to business. Start blowing each other up. That may or may not affect you at all. Israel found out today some documents were leaked showing that Russia is, in fact, selling some of its top fifth-generation fighter jets to Iran. And Israel is mad and immediately contacted Russia. That may or may not affect you. Even what's going on in cities like Portland and Chicago and Memphis and all these other places that will eventually happen too, that may or may not affect you. But this economic stuff, it's going to affect everyone. Everyone. Everyone will be affected by it. Everyone already is affected by it. You won't be able to afford things. Things aren't as available. Like I said this morning and yesterday, freight across the nation is down. Trucking orders is down. All of it. Everything is down, like horribly low. Not just a little bit. A lot down. Get out of here, horsefly. I'll start yelling at you too. It's awful, folks. Silver is almost at a record high. And gold is just a little bit below $4,000 an ounce, folks. $4,000 an ounce. Based strictly on gold, the U.S. dollar has lost over 50% of its value. Now, they're saying that it's 10 or 11% of its value since the first of the year. But if you go strictly on the value of gold, it's over 50% of its value. And there's a lot of people in the markets that say once silver crosses that $50 threshold, it's going to start getting crazy. Maybe, maybe not, but we're getting close. But I will say this, that a lot of places here in the United States and around the world are complaining of silver shortages where they would sell. So, where you can, precious metals place. China, Japan, and the United Kingdom are already reporting difficulties on keeping up their stockpiles of silver to sell to the general public. And multiple places here in the United States are already reporting that, they're out of stock on a lot of stuff. Now, I don't necessarily believe that there really is a shortage of silver products. Coins is what we're speaking of, gold coins and bullion, and silver coins and bullion. I don't really believe that there's a that there's a real shortage. I think that they're holding back because the regular people are starting to figure it out. And the regular people can buy silver, right? Not too many regular people can pay $4,000 for, a 1 ounce piece of gold. But a lot of regular people can pay $50 or $60 for 1 ounce, even though that's considerably more than what it was a year or two ago. Still, if I wanted to go out and dump $1,000 into silver, I can come home with a good amount of silver. If I dump $1,000 in gold, you're coming home with, a little tiny piece of gold. And so a lot of people see that. So the average blue-collar American is more apt to buy into silver. And silver, if those of you that know, in a lot of ways is more important than gold. And so I think they're holding back. I think they're restricting these companies, whether it's the big banks are buying it or they're just restricting the sale of large amounts of silver to the average person. I think that's what's going on. I could be completely wrong. But it's a big deal. There is a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot of stuff going on with wars and with violence here in America. It's now being reported by mainstream news that the White House is considering activating and deploying the 82nd Airborne into Portland, Oregon, and maybe even Chicago. The activity on the streets there around those areas, the protests, it's getting heated up. I'm not quite yet at a point that I would call it a riot. But it is definitely heating up. It's just everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but a lot of places. That things are they're out of whack. And it's because, men's hearts have grown cold. We turned it back on the Father. We, tossed the Bible and Jesus and church out the window and, murdered tens of millions of babies and then turned around and told all the little children that they can have, parts of their bodies cut off so they can be the opposite sex. It's just on and on. We've mocked and cursed as a people, as a nation. We've mocked and cursed God over and over and over again. And then we turn around and we wonder, why in the world is this country falling apart the way it is? Well, that's what happens. The Father will bless this nation if this nation blesses him. But sin is a reproach to any people. That's not an exact quote of anything like that. That's the Travis version. So don't think, you just took like a couple of scriptures and smashed them together and misquoted them. Yeah, I know. I know that most of you get it. And I know that most of you are working really hard to get ready, and you probably feel that you're about as ready as you possibly can be, that you've done everything you can. And maybe you genuinely have. I'm not here to say that you're wrong. I just feel that everyone can always do more. And even if it's not your own preparations, whether it's stuff or skills, maybe it's connections, maybe it's people, maybe it's time to just be a true light in this world, right? Because we're supposed to still do that. There is nothing that I've ever read in Scripture that says, when Yeshua's like, and there's going to be wars, and there's going to be rumors of wars, and there's going to be famines and pestilence, and people are going to die, and they're going to be killing mother against mother, and brother against brother, and father against son, and all this kind of stuff. And when all that stuff happens, you can all go in your hidey hole because there's going to be persecution. You will go through tribulations and persecutions. And so when all that stuff happens, you can go to your hidey hole and you don't have to be witnessing for me anymore. You don't have to be shining my light anymore. I don't recall Yeshua ever saying that. In fact, he says that we're supposed to shine his light up until the very end. And so, if you really truly believe that you are as prepared as you can possibly be, maybe it's time to switch your focus and try to prepare others, starting spiritually. It's just a thought. But I'm telling you, folks, this economic stuff's bad. Oh, another thing I forgot to tell you. Wells Fargo. If you are a Wells Fargo customer, you better be ready. I think I can't remember the date, so you need to look it up. But I believe it's next week. They're going into a total blackout. All Wells Fargo, the whole system is shutting down for like a day. You won't have access to anything. It's all shutting down. They've had some problems in the past, but this sounds pretty sketchy. I wonder how many people might actually not have their accounts open back up or not have the amount that's in them. I mean, this would be perfect for a bank bail-in. And if you don't know what that is, it's, you know, where the bank says, oh, we're hurting real bad, so we're going to take all your money and we'll say that we'll give it back to you at some point in the near future or distant future. It's totally legal. Bank bail-ins are legal. And the FDIC in the past 2 or 3 years have talked about them, that might be an option for a lot of these struggling banks. And here we have Wells Fargo, who's had problems in the last 3 years, shutting down their entire system, going dark for a day. That's a little sketchy. I'd be a little nervous. I might even be choosing to change banks here real quick if I had an account with Wells Fargo. But that's just me. You do you. Get up and get ready, folks, and get your houses in order. And prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.